Hi, welcome to Tabletop Bob. This is a new channel with D&D content as well as live plays every week. My name is Bob, and today we're going to take a look at Tasha's Cauldron of Everything and what it means for your next campaign. Today we're going to look at two sources, the official Wizards of the Coast website that discusses what's going to be in Tasha's book, as well as the D&D Rumors Reddit. Once we do that, we can take a look at how it's going to affect our campaigns, especially if we're starting a new campaign. First, let's move to Wizards of the Coast's website, where we have Tasha's book outlined for us. On the Wizards website, you can see there's a product overview here. I'm making this on September 1st, so this came out just about a week and a half exactly. We're going to see expanded subclasses. I know there are lots of options within Xanathar's Guide and spells and other things that you can take from other books like Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes, but this will breathe, I think, some fresh air into the game, as well as try to fix some of the problems with other subclasses that have been put out and published. More character options is the next section. You're going to delve into new class features, feats, and customize your character's origins. Well, I think this is what a lot of people have been discussing on posts and forums on social media, is that Wizards wanted to take a more diverse stance when it comes to creating characters, especially races. So you're going to have those new race rules that are going to be usable in your campaigns, which can be tricky to implement once your campaign has started. Introducing group patrons. If you're a part of a crime syndicate or working for an ancient dragon, each group patron comes with its own perks and types of assignments. Spells, artifacts, and magic tattoos. Okay, some new items that you can use in your campaigns. Although I'm not too sure how many homebrew campaigns use a lot of the items that are published in the books, but it does give you more options than the Dungeon Master's Guide. Expanded rules options for sidekicks, which we saw a lot of this in the new starter set, or I guess it's not the starter set. It is the Essentials kit, which came out last year. Just had a little more things in it, like the DM screen and some extra rules, as well as the Ice Spire Peak, which was an adventure that was a little more fleshed out than some of the earlier ones. You're also going to get a plethora of puzzles, which is something that I'm interested in, because I think that most of the D&D content now, unless it's an adventure book, doesn't really focus on traps or puzzles. There aren't many choices to pick from if you're a DM. However, I also am not so certain I like puzzles per se, especially riddles and such, because it focuses more on the player's ability than the character's. You kind of don't play your character during that. You either know the answer, or you can figure it out, or not. And I'm not sure if that's necessarily a good idea, but I am interested in traps or anything that's a non-combat encounter that we can implement in our games. Also see here that it comes in alt covers that will be available only in stores, which is a nice little touch here. But the book comes out November 17th, 2020. But yeah, so that's all Wizards gives us on their website. So if we transition to the next screen here, you can see that Tasha's Cauldron of Everything has a lot of confirmed rumors. So let's take a look at those. And I think the biggest part here is that the book is optional. I know that there's Adventurer League players out there that'll be wondering how this is going to affect them, and until you get further confirmation, this could be used as the one source other than the player's handbook that you use, which I'm not sure you'd want to do, but you'll have to make that decision until they decide otherwise. Classes and subraces. So every class is going to get at least one new subclass. 22 new subclasses, 5 reprinted subclasses from other books, not including the Artificer, all of the new subclasses that previously appeared in Unearthed Arcana. So there you go. So you're going to get some new subclasses that were based on the Unearthed Arcana playtest material. Alternate class features for every class, similar to class feature variants, including spell versatility and 3 new Primal Beast companions. So you're going to get some other class features that have not been published yet. The Artificer, okay, so again, reprinted from the last Rising. That is going to have some tweaks in it. New Artificer infusions. That's cool. Always adding to a class is good, especially one that's new. The Artillerist, Alchemist, and Battlesmith will be reprinted. That will be put in here as well. And you can see these are the confirmed subclasses from the book. So nothing on the Barbarian yet, but the Bard, Cleric, Druid, as you can see, all have their confirmed subclass. He's also going to get a Blade Singing Wizard School, which is reprinted from the Sword Coast Guide. And it's going to be a new version, so we'll be interested to see if there's any extra bits added to that class. All right, and then miscellaneous, you're going to get similar origin stories, like This Is Your Life and Xanathar's Guide to Everything. So you'll see Tasha inputting her humor. You would see her character as part of the book. There'll be psionic themed subclasses, which is usually something that's kind of missed on a lot of D&D books. They don't usually include a lot of psionic themed abilities. You'll be seeing some subclasses with that. And you'll get new creatures that you can summon. Summoning spells are very limited, especially at the higher levels. Now, the race situation here is the biggest, I think, most talked about part of the book, because, you know, Wizards stated openly that they really want a more diverse game, and they want to eliminate the idea that races determine ability increases and features specific to race only. And not necessarily remove them, but that you have the option of removing them. You know, if you don't want to be a dwarf with dark vision, I guess you don't have to be, but you can, you know, change around your ability scores. And basically this lineage system is what they're talking about here. It allows you to customize your characters, including scaling your modifiers. You know, my opinion on this is that I'm all for diversity and inclusion. So, you know, these rules are optional if you don't like using them. You don't have to use them, but if you or your players want to, they're more than welcome to. And I think that's probably the best way to go about it. Give people the option. Don't make them forced to do something. And I think more rules are better than less rules, because then you get to choose the ones you like and play the game the way you want to. The big one here is removal of negative racial modifiers. I actually play a kobold in one of our campaigns. I'm playing a kobold rogue, and they're one of the few races to get a negative modifier. I know it's the strength, and kobolds are very tiny, but if you wanted to play a kobold barbarian and your kobold was raised in a, you know, strength featuring clan of some sort, then it would make sense that you don't have that modifier. So they're going to change that part of the game. They're going to allow for variations and no negative modifiers to race. Player's Handbook are considered the archetypal version of those races, but New Origins lets you create the race that you envision. So I think this is an overall positive thing for the game, and I'm really excited to use that. This will be the hardest thing to decide to use in your new campaign, though. I think especially if your campaign is already ongoing, it's kind of hard to go back and change that. Spells. There's going to be a whole new list of spells that are going to be able to get from this book. Okay. New feats, new magic items. We talked about this already. The Taroka deck is going to be an artifact in the game. I played Curse of Strahd, and I'm really, I loved that module. So I think this is an interesting one to add in that your characters can now have. And one of the artifacts that I think are probably most, I guess the most infamous artifact related to Tasha is the Demonomicon. So she is the author of that in the storyline, a item that's going to be directly from Tasha's background. Then you have DM tools that are going to be part of this. We talked about magic tattoos, but you're going to have DM tools that are going to help you. They include session zeros, which is something that's not really talked about in the Player's Handbook or DM's Guide. I think it's more of a community thing that we've discussed in the recent years, to do a session zero where you create characters, where you talk about the rules that you're going to be using, any things that you want to keep in or out of the campaign. Yeah, so that's going to be put in there, which is nice to see them put down in pen and paper some ideas for that. You're going to have groups that are powerful NPCs to help your characters. Sidekicks, which were introduced in the Essentials kit, going to be expanded. And then we go to the art and sources for all of these here. So that's the coverage of Tasha's book. Now I'm going to talk about what this means for your campaign. So my take on this book is that I'm very excited for it. I really want to use it in my new campaign. If you're watching on the channel, you're watching my live play of the Descent into Avernus group, which we've been playing for almost a year now. This campaign is going to end September 19th. We've scheduled our finale, so we'll be live streaming that so you can all see it. We are going to be starting a new campaign coming up, and I want it to be the new Icewind Dale campaign. I think that's probably the next thing we're going to be doing on the stream. However, I do want to use this book. So I think there's 3 ways you can go about implementing this book into your campaign if you have an ongoing campaign already. One is to allow characters to be recreated. From the top to bottom, let the characters be recreated and use the new racial ability choices, use any new classes or subclasses. This is probably the most player-friendly one. You're allowing your players to completely retool themselves, to reimagine themselves, and if you've been playing together for a year or more, this may be uncomfortable for you because those characters have been solidified in your world. The second option would be to allow for players to, going forward, use the player options in this book. So none of the racial abilities will be able to be changed. However, you will allow them to pick new feats, new spells, and do that going forward. The The other option that I think what I use oftentimes in my campaign is every time someone levels up, I do allow them to pick a feature or a spell or something that would have normally been permanent and change it. I know some classes will do this inherently. They allow you to swap out a spell or not from the wizard spell list or sorcerer, for example. I think you can make this choice for any class feature, anything related to your class that your players may use. They might find something didn't work, and then they can swap it out for the alternative option in Tasha's book. Now, if you're interested in starting the Icewind Dale campaign, the Rime of the Frost Maiden, this is the decision you have to make. You can decide to wait, which may be hard, but you have to wait until this book comes out November 17th to start your campaign. That's almost a full 2 months after the Frost Maiden book is released. If you do that, you have a session 0 where your players get to look at the options in the book. You can create characters using all of these methods and then start your campaign properly. If you don't and you want to start that book right away, when Tasha's does drop, I think it would be best to try to keep your characters low level, especially keep them below 3rd. I think if you can cruise for maybe 4 sessions or so, which seems reasonable for playing right now, depends if you play weekly or not, but if you can keep the characters to 2nd level, when they hit that 3rd level bump, a lot of choices have to be made at 3rd level, like your subclass for almost all of the classes. Just a few of them, like the wizard and others, cleric, choose their domains or their wizard school before that. And if you do, then you can have the players use everything except for the racial options. And if they're at 2nd level, they might even be able to retool their characters using those options. So I think those are the choices you have to make if you're going to run the Frost Maiden campaign. But anyway, I hope you found this helpful. If you're interested in content like this and you're interested in my channel, please subscribe. You can hit the bell notification to get updated when a video goes live. You can also check out our streams, which are live here on YouTube. Right now we're going to be finishing the Descent into Avernus group, which we have 2 sessions left. One is on Friday, September 11th at 7:30 p.m. The other is going to be on September 19th. It's a Saturday. We're going to stream all day long. We're going to finish the campaign, even if it takes 6 hours or so. Again, I thank you for stopping by, and I will see you on the tabletop.